Hello, so today we are going to do this problem, which is part of Leetcode Daily Challenge. The problem is longest arithmetic subsequence of given difference. So basically we have an array and we have a difference integer, and we want to return the length of the longest subsequence in the array where the, that is an arithmetic sequence such that the difference is just this value. I know it's a mouthful a little bit, but essentially what they mean is we want to find the longest subsequence that is an arithmetic sequence with the difference between values being equal to this difference value here. Okay, so for example, if we look at difference equal to 1 with this array, then the longest one we can find is 4 because 2 minus 1, that's 1, 3 minus 2, that's 1, 4 minus 3, that's 1. So the difference is 1 across all of them. Okay, so that's why we can say that this is an arithmetic sequence with the difference of 1. Okay, and then if we take a look at the second example, at the last example here, with the difference value being -2, then if we look starting from the longest sequence that arithmetic sequence with this difference is going to be 7, 5, 3, and 1, because 5 minus 7 is -2, 3 minus 5 is -2, 1 minus 3 is -2, right? So that's sort of the idea, and the goal basically is to return the maximum possible length, and that's 4 here. Okay, so let's see how we can tackle it. Okay, so how do we handle it? So the first thing to notice here is that this is up to 10 to the power of 5. So that already tells you that you can't do something that is O of n squared. So we need to find something better, O of n solution maybe. So how do we tackle this? So let's say we have an array, but let's represent it with these just letters. And let's say up to this point, these 3 are already part of a valid subsequence, right? And so let's see here, for example, with this, how do we tell if this d can be part of our subsequence? Well, if d minus difference exists in these values, then we can include this d. Why? Because then the difference is going to be between that element and this is going to be 0, equal to 0 here, right? Equal to difference, sorry, because this d is cancelled with this one and we have only difference left, right? And that's sort of like what the problem says, is that the element of the subsequence, the current one minus the previous one, needs to be equal to difference. So what do I mean by this? Let's again do it on this, for example. So at let's say, for example, let's take 3. So at 3, and the difference is 1, so we just need to know if 3 minus 1 was already found in the previous subsequence, in the subsequence we are taking into account, and it's 2, it's there, so we are good, so we can take 3. And similarly 4, we just need to find that 3 is there and 3 is there, right? And so if what this tells us basically is that we sort of just need a map that tells us first if an element existed before. But is that enough though, right? Because here, if we find that 2 is there, that's not enough. We need to know for 2 what's the longest subsequence that ends at 2, because then here, for example, the longest subsequence is 2. We will know that we just need to add 1 for this 3 to get the length of the longest subsequence that ends at 3, right? Similarly for 4, we just need to find the length of the longest subsequence that ends at 4 minus 1, which is 3, right? So that's sort of the idea here. So if we have a map, let's call it maybe a longest subsequence, that just records the value for each. Basically, this would be the longest subsequence, so the length of the longest subsequence ending at x, right? And now with this, it should be pretty easy to solve the problem, right? We just have this map that we initialize like this, and then we just go through the array, and what would be the longest subsequence of a? Well, it depends. If a exists already, then that means we can extend this subsequence, right? We can do 1 plus the longest subsequence like we did here, which is, for example, for 3, it was 3 minus the difference 1, which is 2, and so that would be just a minus diff. But this is only if it exists, if a minus diff exists, right? So for example here, this is only if 2 exists. Okay, because if 2 doesn't exist, 3 can't be part of a subsequence, because then it's not arithmetic, right? The property is not valid. But otherwise, if it's not there, then we have to start a new subsequence. So let's say, for example, I don't know, if difference is still 1, but we had maybe 1, 4, 5, something like this. So at 4 here, we don't find 3. So if we don't find 3, then we just consider the subsequence with only the value 4, which is of length 1. So in that case, we need to do this here equal to 1. Okay, so that's sort of the idea of what we are going to do, like this, and then at the end we just want to return. What should we return? Well, we don't know which value ends with the longest subsequence, right? So let's just take the max, right? Because we don't care about the last value, we only care about the maximum length, and so we can just return the max of this, but just take the values to get the maximum length, and that's pretty much it, right? So if run this, so this is just difference, so I'll just replace this difference, and looks good. Let's submit, and it does pass. Okay, now in terms of time complexity here, we are doing in terms of time complexity, we have O of n time here for this loop, and then we have O of n space here with this map here. Okay, and so we have O of n time and O of n space. Okay, yeah, so that's pretty much it for this problem. Please like and subscribe, and see you on the next one. Bye.